We believe that videos, images, words, and sounds have the absolute power to inform, inspire, and entertain. We are united under the virtues of safety and knowledge. We are a training community of learners and teachers who encourage and energize each other to achieve greatness. We are pilots, videographers, photographers, freelancers, business owners, enthusiasts, experts, and apprentices. We are creators. We are the Drone U.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another awesome episode of Ask Drone U. My name is Paul.
I'm John.
And you're listening to episode 312 of the Ask Drone U podcast. And today we're going to be talking more about FPV racing. That's why we have John here.
Yep.
John, you're a racer, right?
Yeah, I am.
You've been doing it for just a little while, right?
Yeah, just a little while. I've been doing it pretty much professionally since U.S. Nationals in July, something like that.
Nice. And you just got back from Dubai, right?
Yeah, I just went to Dubai for the World Drone Prix, and that was a crazy experience.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like
the
videos have been crazy.
Yeah, so much money was put into that. Just the track was amazing, and just all the numbers that I've been hearing thrown around from that event were absolutely incredible.
Wow. And it just seems like, and I'm not trying to take away from the event, it seems like they really went over above and beyond.
They did.
Are they setting the precedent for races to come?
They're trying to. So they're still trying to figure out if they want to do a touring, kind of like F1 in different places all over the world, maybe 8 races in a year, or if they just want to do the single World Drone Prix in Dubai every year.
Gotcha.
As well as they're working on the future sports games that are happening in 2017 that they're trying to get some pretty crazy stuff happening.
Interesting.
So robotic, foot races, soccer, manned drone racing.
Manned?
Manned. So
how is that? How's it a drone if it's manned?
It's like a manned UAV, but
we're gonna take the U and we're gonna add an M. It's an MAV.
And so they're basically manned multi-rotor racing.
Wow. So like the whole E-Hang 185 where you got 2 people in there.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like. They're trying to do some crazy stuff, and it's only next year that they're trying to do it by.
So literally like pod racing, like Star Wars pod racing.
Very much, yes. So they're trying to do our normal drone racing, manned multi-rotor racing.
Wow.
Like I said, so boxing, soccer.
You heard it first. Pod racing is happening next year.
Next year.
In Dubai.
It is.
Star Wars is coming to life.
Yep.
Wow. Wow. All right. So John, I just want to say thanks again for being on the podcast. Really appreciate it. What is your racing nickname? I know that's like a big deal here in the FPV racing community.
Yeah. So you can find me pretty much anywhere racing or anything drone as Highwind FPV or just Highwind.
But do people really call you that?
No. Nobody has ever called me
So,
Highwind
if
ever.
I went to a race and I was like, Sharpoo, dude, Steel, dude, like Highwood FPV, man, what's up?
So Charpoo is one that most people will call him Charpoo, but so a lot of us call him Carlos. Steel is his real name, I think. Well, so in Dubai, we learned that his real first name is Jared.
Oh.
But I'm almost positive that his actual name is Jared Steele Davis, and he just goes by Steele.
And no relation to Subway Jared?
No.
Oh, that's probably good. All right, well, let's get to today's question, guys. Thank you again for listening in. If you have a question, go to askdroneu.com, FPV related, legal related, or consumer drone related. Whatever it is, please go to askdroneu.com, upload it. Follow us on Twitter @TheDroneU. Follow us on Instagram @TheDroneU, where you actually see a lot of this guy's posts coming up soon. We're very excited about that.
Yep.
So today's question is brought to you by... Are you a drone pilot? Are you operating under a Section 333 exemption? Then you may be familiar with Item 27, which requires you to get a property release for every flight over property.
Legal Flyer is an app for iPhone and iPad that helps you create professional property releases in less time than it takes to do a pre-flight check.
You can add your pilot info, you can sign in, hand it to the property owner for their signature. But wait a second. Legal Flyer's advanced integration automatically adds latitude, longitude, and even altitude.
Then add a panorama straight from the app. Everything drops into a single-page PDF you can share with a single tap. It's compliance at light speed. Visit LegalFlyer.com for more information or get it straight from the App Store. Legal Flyer. Property releases for professional drone pilots.
Hello, Drone U. This is Dustin from Denver, Colorado. My question today is about the FPV racers. I have a friend who's a beginner, not fly FPV, not really fly much at all. I tell him to do the Don't Crash course. This is good stuff. And then maybe do like mini quad, like $40, $50, $60 quad to learn the basics, nose in, figure eight, this basic stuff that, all pilots should know. I then tell him to think about the DIY racer quads, the do it yourself. I told him there's many things to benefit from this. I'd like to know your guys' thoughts. You agree, disagree? He kind of want to go RTF. I tell him this okay, but the DIY is the way to go. I appreciate you guys. If you have any Polar Pros, please send me a pair for the GoPro or the Aspire 1. I soon will be getting Aspire 1. I cannot wait. I appreciate you guys again. The Drone News, great success. Thank you.
Astroneo, #1 podcast in Kazakhstan. Oh, it's amazing. I love the accents. It's something that we normally ask for on the other episodes. So I love those accents. I love this community of dronies. I mean, it is absolutely awesome. So Jon, where do we get started? If we want to get into FPV racing, we have a drone, we don't have a drone, what do we do?
So if you have a drone, if you don't have a drone, one of my biggest recommendations is to get a simulator, specifically an FPV racing simulator, not something that's like Real Flight or Phoenix, the normal RC simulators.
What's a good simulator then?
So I personally use Liftoff.
Okay.
It's on Steam. It's made by Immersion RC. So it's actually pretty decent. A lot of people complain about the racing simulators. They're not super accurate, especially gravity-wise, but it'll get your stick motions in there. It'll get you learning how to fly, what to do when you're about to crash, to pull back, to throttle up, those kinds of things. There's also people use hot props. There's several different racing simulators out there.
Interesting. Now you can actually plug in your remote into the simulator, right?
In Liftoff, you can plug a Taranis directly into it, USB. You can even use an Xbox controller and stuff like that, which I don't recommend.
Gotcha.
But most people have Taranis. It's cheap. It's a nice radio for how expensive it is.
And if you don't have a drone, you're going to have to get a Taranis radio anyway, right?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And so the $15 on Liftoff and $200 on a Taranis is a real good starting point.
Gotcha.
After that, I would start looking in forums like
and groups, like Facebook groups?
Facebook groups like the Mini Quad Club, or even there's fpvlab.com, which is just a regular internet forum. There's also RC groups and stuff like that. But the biggest way that you're going to learn and start to get into the community is by meeting local groups that have people racing. Even if you don't have a drone, show up to one of their races on a Saturday or Sunday and just talk to people and get people's opinions on maybe what's popular in your area, what's good for your area, depending on altitude, all kinds of different stuff like that.
Interesting. Well, let me ask you this. He's from Denver. Are there any clubs that you're familiar with from Denver?
And actually, so there's a real big following in Denver. They have a multi-GP group called ADP or APD, Aurora Parker Denver. Some of my good friends are up there. The Big Whoop guys are from Fort Collins, and they make it down to those races pretty often from what I understand. So
just giving me another excuse to go to Denver, man.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. So, all right, let's say we don't have a drone. Now I know you're teaching a class on building your first drone or building an advanced drone here at Drone U. So if you're looking to get a really good drone, stay tuned. We'll have a link for that in the description when it's live. But you can just go to thedroneu.com, become a member. This class would be available to all members free of charge. That being said, should someone buy maybe like a cheap kind of package drone if they don't have a drone, or do you think they should just really learn to build one and then build their own drone and then fly it?
It kind of depends.
Like, how did you learn?
So I learned many years ago just through internet forums and pouring through pages and pages and pages of information and learning about the hardware and the software and learning how to solder, which I already knew how to do, but that's one of the biggest skills that you need to learn if you're going to build your own is learning how to solder well.
So if someone can't solder, what's just like a starter FPV racer you'd recommend?
I would recommend, if you're going to buy a ready to fly out of the box, the TBS Vendetta, I believe is what it is.
TBS
Team Black Sheep Vendetta.
Vendetta.
It's a composite carbon frame. The whole frame is carbon. You could run it over with a truck in Dubai. We were jumping on them with Trappy.
You were truly trying this out, testing it.
We were.
Gotcha. Well, hey, I mean, you're a true pilot. You've got to test everything to the limit.
Yeah,
right?
and it's really nice. It's a little heavy maybe for competitive racing,
but it'll help you get started.
It'll help you get started, and it's real durable, and it has plug-and-play parts. The arms just click on and off with connectors. You don't even have to worry about
That's cool.
soldering your motors back on and stuff like that. So it's a real nice frame for especially beginners.
That is very cool. So we've talked about a simulator. We talked about groups. You've poured through the internet. Some people just maybe want to go to the groups and ask. They can get together with local clubs. If they don't have a drone, they can learn to build a drone through the course, or they can buy a prefab drone.
Yep.
And I'm thinking maybe it's smarter. I mean, if you have a lot of disposable income, to just buy like the TBS Vendetta, so that you have something that always works, so you can practice those skills of flying. At least that's how I would do it.
Yeah.
And then I would move into building my own. Or if you're really ballsy, just build your own and learn to fly on that thing.
And I mean that's what I did. I've been flying planes and multi-rotors for a couple years before the mini quads came around, but I just built my own, tried to make it as powerful as possible, and gone from there. That's a big thing, is that even if you build something that you feel like is over your skill level, or you're putting hardware or software into your drone that's over your skill level, it will eventually make you a better pilot.
Interesting. All right. Any other tips for becoming a better pilot? I mean, I know you're doing this course. They're packed full of tips, but anything quick that you could think of?
Really, stick time is a big thing. Like, if you want to get good and you want to go out there...
Is that why a 15-year-old won the Dubai World Cup?
There's a good chance. I will say that there's a handful of us that probably have more time than Luke to go out and fly.
Really?
Yeah. And he's in the UK, so there's not the best flying weather necessarily out there all the time. But I will say that his reflexes and all of that are a big part of the reason why, him being 10 years younger than most of us, he has the skill. Interesting.
Well, for you guys wanting to get started with FPV racing, there's a couple different routes you can go. Definitely getting locked in with the local group, it may be the way for you.
Yeah.
Practicing with the simulators, getting a drone yourself, getting a radio, and also, I mean, you're going to have to get goggles too. There's a lot of things that really go into that.
And that's what's awesome about this whole thing, is that there's so many different routes you can go to get into it. Some people enjoy building, some people just enjoy flying, some people enjoy throwing money at something they can buy off the shelf to fly. There's so many different routes that so many people could get into. There's
a lot of different ways to get into it, though, clearly. And with all the sponsorships that are going around right now in FPV racing, it's mind-boggling to me. It's really like this is turning into NASCAR.
Yeah, it is. So, and that's what we're looking to try and get it into.
Which is awesome. Well, Jon, you're the man. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. You can check more out on Jon at Highwind FPV on Instagram.
Yeah, on Instagram and YouTube.
Awesome. Jon is also teaching that course like I've been talking about. So if you kind of want a step-by-step guide, you want the tricks, the tips, the nuances, you want to learn the things that experience teaches you, check out Jon's course. It will be available to members on thedroneu.com. Guys, if you're a new pilot, you got to know where you can fly. You got to know all the stuff on mitigating emergencies and those habits and whatnot. Check out the Don't Crash course for that. Otherwise, guys, thank you so much for listening. We greatly appreciate it. You can check us out Instagram, Twitter. Hate us on Twitter, is what I like to say, because I'm really not a Twitter fan. Check us out on YouTube. And again, you can submit a question at askdroneu.com. Well, that's going to do it for us today, guys. My name is Paul.
And I'm Jon.
And this is Ask Drone U.
We believe that videos, images, words, and sounds have the absolute power to inform, inspire, and entertain. We are united under the virtues of safety and knowledge. We are a training community of learners and teachers who encourage and energize each other to achieve greatness. We are pilots, videographers, photographers, freelancers, business owners, enthusiasts, experts, and apprentices. We are creators. We are the Drone U.